Hollywood sells perfection like a luxury brand. Smooth skin, perfect curves, and faces that never age. But no one tells you the real price. That price is pain. Pain you can't see on red carpets. Pain hidden behind frozen smiles, swollen faces, and bodies that no longer feel like home. In this industry, beauty is currency, youth is power, and fear is the engine that keeps everything moving. One procedure becomes two, one fix becomes a trap, and slowly the mirror stops reflecting who you are. Tonight, we're exposing the stories Hollywood would rather you forget, the artists who chased perfection and lost themselves along the way. These are not gossip stories. These are warnings. Watch until the end because the final story may change how you see beauty forever. If you believe truth matters more than filters, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us because Hollywood doesn't want you to hear these stories.
Nicki Minaj, when perfection becomes the price of power. Nicki Minaj didn't just dominate rap with bars, she dominated it with an image no one could ignore. When Pink Friday exploded in 2009, her crown felt untouchable. But in an industry where yesterday's icon is today's competition, standing still is the same as falling behind. As beauty standards grew louder and bodies got bigger, Nicki made a bold move that changed everything. A Brazilian butt lift doubled her curves overnight and launched her straight into a new era of attention. The crowd went wild, but the mirror told a different story. One surgery turned into many. Her nose became smaller, her cheeks fuller, her lips reshaped into a stiff, doll-like pout. What once looked expressive slowly froze. Offstage, her body no longer felt like home. She won the race for trends, but lost the comfort of recognizing herself. Behind the applause stood a woman staring at a stranger, wondering when perfection started costing everything.
LaToya Jackson, when surgery erases the self. Being born a Jackson should have guaranteed stardom, but for LaToya Jackson, it meant living in a shadow that never moved. Michael was a global phenomenon, Janet became a pop powerhouse, and LaToya was always compared, always overlooked. Fame ran in her blood, yet recognition felt forever out of reach. Desperate to stand apart, she turned to the one thing Hollywood never stopped selling, a new face. In the 1980s, as plastic surgery quietly became the family's unspoken language, LaToya followed the path she believed would finally make her visible. One nose job became another. Each change promised confidence, individuality, freedom. Instead, her features slowly disappeared. Her nose grew sharper, thinner. Her skin tightened. Her eyes lost their spark. The mirror no longer reflected a Jackson. It reflected someone unfamiliar, even to herself. Surgery didn't pull her out of the shadow. It erased the very identity she was trying to protect. Patti LaBelle. The voice remained, but the face changed. For decades, Patti LaBelle didn't just sing, she commanded the stage. Her voice was power, her presence regal, her beauty timeless. But time is undefeated. After losing her husband of more than 30 years and feeling the weight of aging in an industry obsessed with youth, Patti began to fear the mirror more than the microphone. She turned to cosmetic surgery, hoping to rewind the clock. It started small, a nose job, a little Botox, a touch of filler. But one fix became a cycle. Her nose grew unnaturally short, her cheeks puffed up. Botox froze the expressions that once carried emotion through every note. The elegance that defined her image slowly faded. Fans looked twice, struggling to recognize the icon they adored. Patti never lost her talent, but she lost the visual signature that made her unforgettable. And that is the quiet tragedy of chasing youth. Wendy Williams, when reinvention turns into escape. Wendy Williams never rose to fame by blending in. She was bold, loud, unapologetic, and confident in a body Hollywood didn't know how to handle. But behind the microphone, she was already reshaping herself. Breast implants, liposuction, then Botox, fillers, a nose job.
One change led to another. At first, confidence followed, then harmony disappeared. Her face puffed, expressions froze, her body lost balance. And for a talk show host whose face told half the story, that loss was devastating. Then real life collapsed. A public divorce, betrayal, humiliation played out in headlines. Wendy tried to erase pain with procedures, believing a new look could mean a new beginning. By 2020, viewers no longer recognized the woman on screen. She stood out, but not as herself. Surgery can change a body, but it can't fix heartbreak. And chasing that illusion can cost your identity.
Foxy Brown, a comeback that cost her identity. In the 90s, Foxy Brown wasn't chasing trends. She was the trend. Her razor-sharp flow, fearless presence, and natural beauty defined an era of hip-hop. She had it all. Then everything collapsed. Legal trouble, prison time, hearing loss, and industry silence pushed her out of the spotlight. Fame faded fast, and desperation crept in. Believing a new look could bring the crown back, Foxy turned to cosmetic surgery. Her signature nose was slimmed down, fillers puffed her cheeks, Botox erased wrinkles, and the expressions that made her magnetic. Her lips grew fuller, but her smile no longer felt alive. When she reappeared in public, fans didn't cheer, they stared. The woman standing there looked nothing like the Foxy they remembered. Surgery didn't resurrect her legacy, it rewrote it. Her comeback became unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Vanessa Williams, When Fear Replaces Confidence. In 1984, Vanessa Williams changed history as the first Black Miss America. She had the crown, the beauty, and the future, until scandal took it all away. Hollywood tried to erase her, but Vanessa fought back and won. She rebuilt her career, shined again, and proved resilience beats rejection. But another fear slowly replaced the old one: fear of aging, fear of becoming invisible. In the late 90s, she took her first step into cosmetic surgery with a subtle nose job. At first, it worked, but time kept moving. Botox became routine, wrinkles disappeared, but so did expression. Fillers swelled her cheeks. Her face grew polished, distant, frozen. At 62, she still walks red carpets with grace, but the public sees a warning, not an icon. Aging was never the enemy, fear was, and fear nearly erased the face she earned. Tiny Harris, When Perfection Becomes a Prison. Tiny Harris was once the definition of effortless beauty. As a member of Escape, she didn't need dramatic curves or a perfect face to shine. Her warmth, her voice, and her natural charm were enough. But fame changes, marriage changes, and Hollywood standards change fastest of all. As the spotlight dimmed, pressure grew. Tiny began believing perfection had an expiration date. She turned to surgery, a nose job, fillers, Botox, skin lightening treatments, hoping to hold on to youth. Instead, she lost herself. Her skin grew pale, her face stiffened. The warmth fans loved disappeared behind a frozen mask. When she appeared in public, people didn't applaud. They searched for the woman they once knew. Tiny didn't gain youth. She lost identity. Her story carries a painful truth. When perfection becomes the goal, losing yourself becomes the cost. T-Boz Tyon Watkins, When Grief Rewrites the Mirror. T-Boz was never just a singer. She was a feeling, the soul of TLC. Her raspy voice, sharp features, and effortless cool made her unforgettable. But behind the confidence came heartbreak. The loss of Lisa Left Eye Lopez shattered her world, and years of battling serious illness slowly wore down her strength and self-image. Aging didn't scare her as much as disappearing did. Hoping to hold on to youth, T-Boz turned to cosmetic surgery. It began with a nose job in the mid-2000s, meant to be subtle. It wasn't. Her nose shrank too much, throwing off the balance of her face.
Believing one more fix would solve it, she added Botox and fillers. Instead of renewal, her face stiffened, cheeks swelled, expressions faded. On stage, the voice was still there, but the face no longer told the story. Pain pushed her to change what never needed fixing. And grief proved something surgery never can. It doesn't heal loss.
Lisa Ray McCoy defined effortless seduction. After the Players Club, her sharp eyes, balanced features, and commanding presence made her impossible to ignore. She didn't chase attention, it followed her. But fame is temporary, and life hit hard. In 2008, a painful divorce from former Prime Minister Michael Missick, surrounded by scandal and betrayal, sent Lisa Ray into emotional freefall. Determined not to let heartbreak or time define her, she chose reinvention, starting with cosmetic surgery. A nose job sharpened her features too much, stripping away the softness fans loved. Still chasing perfection, she went further. Her chin was reshaped into a sharp triangle, fillers inflated her cheeks, her skin grew glossy and tight. When she reappeared, Hollywood didn't applaud, it stared. The woman from the Players Club was gone. In trying to preserve beauty, Lisa Ray erased the very identity that made her unforgettable. Tasha Smith, when pain hides behind perfection. Tasha Smith was never Hollywood's classic beauty, and that was her power. From the sharp-tongued Pam on Martin to strong, unforgettable roles in film and TV, her confidence and authenticity made her magnetic. She didn't need a perfect face to steal scenes. But after turning 40, the industry grew quiet. Roles slowed. Then came the real blow, a devastating marriage betrayal that played out publicly. Trying to survive both heartbreak and Hollywood, Tasha chose reinvention. A nose job came first, then Botox, then fillers. What started as a refresh slowly changed the balance of her face. Cheeks hardened, expressions softened the wrong way. The warmth audiences loved began to fade. In trying to look younger and sexier, she lost the unique look that made her unforgettable. Her journey carries a painful truth. Fixing emotional wounds with cosmetic changes doesn't heal the pain. It only hides it, and often at the cost of identity. Thank you for staying with us through this entire journey. These stories are painful, not because beauty was lost, but because identity was traded for approval. Hollywood taught these artists that aging is failure, that fear must be fixed, and that perfection is survival. But what we've seen tonight proves the truth. Perfection is a trap. It never gives peace. It only demands more. More changes, more pain, more loss. The real tragedy isn't wrinkles or time. It's forgetting who you were before the world told you that you weren't enough. Beauty fades, trends die, fame moves on, but self-acceptance is the only thing that lasts. If this video made you think differently, if it made you pause before chasing someone else's standard, then our mission worked. Please like, subscribe, and stay with the channel. More truths are coming, and you won't want to miss them. See you in the next videos.